the first thing we are going to be doing as usual is to go into the daily time frame. Of course, we want to see things from an holistic point of view. We want to see how participants in this market has been looking at this structure since let's see, from the beginning of this year, I think. And if we look at this structure closely, you will see that price action has actually been bullish. And when we connect the series of higher lows in this market, this is what I was able to pull out from here. So we want to ensure that we have a mean of this trend line. So at least it will cut across majority of the pivot lows here. So that is one. We are going to be doing some readjustment when we bring back our candle charts. But before we do that, we want to have a key level, which will be a platform upon which we shall be guiding our trading activity for this week. So we have a key level sitting just exactly along that psychological level there at the 168.00 area. So my key levels are always highlighted in gold for to emphasize its importance. So let's give it a gold color. And here we go. So we have a key level there. Then at this point, again, there's another thing I'm seeing here, which is the lower highs, which we are seeing around this area. So we are already having something that's looking like a flag pattern, which is a trend continuation pattern you have there. So let's see how this is going to be playing out for us this week. So now bringing back my candle chart right now, things becomes clearer. So we can see it has been bullish, and we saw the breakout of the 168.00 area, a very strong psychological level at the beginning of the month. And since the breakout of the structure happened, we saw our price had come to retest the structure a couple of times. So we can see that sellers are finding it very difficult to even break down the 168.00 area. And at this point, you would agree with me that buyers are gradually gaining momentum, and we might likely be seeing price action move to the upside. But we are not going to be jumping into conclusions here, as we need to scale down to a much more lower time frame to see how the structure is unfolding, and at the same time see how majority in the market has been reacting to the current levels. So the first thing I will do here is to go into the 4 hours time frame so that we can have a resistant line that we are going to be using. So let me bring this back in so that we can see things clearly here. And then, I think my trend line has disappeared. So bring back my line chart and then reconnect the trend line again. And then let's allow this trend line to show on all our time frames. Okay, hold on a second. All right. So here we go. Now we're also going to have a level that will guide our trading activity for today. And that falls around the 170. 170, yes. Okay. So I hope you're following me patiently, accordingly. We are going to get to the bottom of this before the end of the session. So we have the 170.00 level, a very strong psychological level, considering the round figure of that price. And bring back our candle chart. So we have it right now. So you can see how the 170 level shares a beautiful confluence with that trend line that has been supporting this bearish momentum since the beginning of this month. So you can see this trend line. So since the beginning of the month, this is what we have been seeing here. So it's a very beautiful trend line, and price action sitting just right along the 170 area, which also shares a confluence with the trend line, is a very significant structure for me to look out for trading opportunities today. And in fact, looking out for buying opportunity just right above that 170.00 area. So now with this situation here, let's scale down into a much more lower time frame so that we can capture how we want to be taking advantage of this move. Now, when we scale down to the 1 hour time frame, things becomes much more clearer. As you can see, we have our trend lines. So I would like to bolden this trend line a little bit so that it will give us a sense of Hold on a second. So we have the 170.00 area here. Okay, so we already have a breakout of the 170. So for those who are taking advantage of this one right here, well done to you for being on standby to catch that move, as you will currently be running with about 30 pips in profit, and which is not bad at all. So I ensure you have your stop loss quite close to somewhere around here, which is about 40 pips around the 169.600 area. That's about 38 pips stop loss around that area. Now, for those who had missed out on this opportunity, how do we intend to take advantage of this move? Well, you all know from a technical standpoint, whenever price action breaks out of a key structure like this, especially a very important confluence like this one, we expect that one point in time, price is likely going to come back and retest that structure. So if you had missed out on that buy position at the breakout of the 170.00 area, then you could wait for price action to come back, retest this level in anticipation of another wave. Then if you're already in this trade, you could still add more position at the retest of that structure. Then to make things much more easier for us, we want to identify a trend line which we shall be using to guide our trading activity. So we have this bullish trend line after connecting the series of higher lows since last week, Thursday. We have a trend line that we shall be using. So I will make this a little bit much more thicker so that we can see things more clearly. So you can see it lines up exactly. So if at any point price action comes back to retest the structure, we have a beautiful confluence here. So we look out for more opportunities to buy. So on this one here, on the GBPJPY, as long as price action remains above both the 170.00 level and this trend line, we continue to look out for buying opportunities in this market. So we have a very beautiful confluence there to look out for more opportunities to buy the GBPJPY today. So buy breakout, retest of this structure that we have here. Now, what happens if price action continues to find higher highs and it doesn't come back into this? I doubt if that will happen anyways, but if it does happen that price action continues to find higher highs in this market, then we would want to find another structure here that we shall be using to guide that move all the way to the upside. So if you look at things closely here, I think we have something around the 170.500. So let's map that area out. So if price action continues in such a way that it doesn't come back down and instead it continues to find higher high, so we have the 170.500 level to capture that move. So we want to see a breakout retest of that structure. Remember what I just said here, breakout retest of that structure before we join that move. So we want to see something like this. So as soon as a breakout happens, you want to scale down to your lower time frame to see a retest of the structure to happen and the appearance of buy pressure before joining that move. And in fact, a breakdown could happen to bring price back into the trend line in anticipation of another wave of bullish momentum to the upside. So on the GBPJPY this week, we are looking forward to buying opportunities here. It's looking very, very bullish. So be on standby to catch any of these opportunities. However, in as much as we're looking out for buying opportunity, I always ensure that we keep tabs with the opposite direction too as well. We want to look at the potentials that sellers have to in this market. So if we are going to be selling, if at any point in time, the idea of selling wants to come in, what do we want to see in this market that make us to sell? And remember, I told you earlier that we already have a trend line here which is guiding our bullish momentum so far for this week. If at any point in time price action breaks down that trend line to the downside, then at this point we want to consider this as a bearish signal. And if that happens, remember, we are not getting too excited. We want some confirmation to happen, which is likely going to come in the form of a retest of the trend line that was broken. And in fact, this trend line, we have two trend lines here, the bearish trend line and the bullish trend line. And then we also have the 170.00 area where selling pressure below the structure will give us that opportunity to sell. And depending on how price action reacts to the 168.00 area, remember our key level on the daily time frame will now determine if we are going to be adding more sell position or getting ready to buy the GBPJPY. So These are my views here on the GBPJPY for this week. So I'm holding on to a bullish bias here. So as long as price action remains above this trend line, this bullish trend line here, we feel comfortable in our buy position and look out for more opportunities to add more position to our existing trade. And it's on this note I want to draw the curtain. It has been a wonderful moment being with you guys today as we were able to treat I think 4 instruments. Actually, we treated the US oil spot, the US Tech 100, and I think we treated the XAU USD, and then the GBPJPY, which is going to be the instrument we are going to be monitoring for the week. I hope we all had a wonderful moment out there, and just be on standby to catch any of these opportunities. I hope you screenshotted my screen so that you can use it as a reference point as we get prepared for the new week. Do have a wonderful evening, everyone. And for those who are joining us for the first time, I hope you are able to gain one or two things here. And trust me, with time, you get to understand how this works as we continue to join us every day. So I look forward to seeing you guys same time tomorrow, 10 a.m. UTC. So that is that on the USD JPY for today.